just finished up editing one of my old videos. This video was taken out of Driggs, Idaho, near Pierre's Hole for the 1998 AMM National Rendezvous over the 4th of July week. George Thompson and I had taken 4 of my animals and trailered over there to do a ride into the rendezvous. Our plan was to spend 4 or 5 days in the saddle before getting to the rendezvous. Unfortunately, deep snow in the high passes prevented us from making that ride. We ended up having to trailer into the parking area, unload our animals, load up from there, and head out and do a 3 or 4 day loop out around the rendezvous site. We ran into another group in the hills that had the same experience we did. Joe Frunk from Wyoming, Dick Patton from New Mexico, Mark Wiedek from northern Idaho, and several other fellows had tried to do a similar ride. They ran into the exact same obstacles and ended up leaving from the rendezvous parking area. We still had an awful good time, and it was a fine rendezvous. But it is amazing to look back at the AMM almost 20 years ago now and see how things have changed. They've gotten nothing but better. I hope you enjoy this one. We actually woke to sunshine this morning. George has been up since daylight, or before, I'm sure, working, taking care of the horses, mules. I took a well-deserved sleep in. Now we've got things spread out all over the countryside, trying to get things dried out. Critters are out getting a bite to eat. We're going to give things a couple hours in the sun, and then we'll pack up and get out of this hole, try to get up on top. Here we have the man who would be king, stretched out. He has been up and moving for a couple hours now, so it's probably time to catch a little nap. He did make it all day long yesterday without a nap, but he's doing good now, catching up. Good coffee he made this morning. Hard to get a fire going, everything was so wet. Cleo's kind of standing there on the nod, as is Cheyenne. And Blue's also on the nod. Ernie's been tied up in camp, and I just let him go a while ago. He's kind of feeding around the edges. Beautiful morning. Just nice to see some sun. I was starting to get saddled up and packed up. Head off for day 2's adventure. Get these panniers loaded up and balanced out. Get saddled on Blue, and looks like Cheyenne's ready to go. Well, we've hit every crappy deal in the world today. We tried going up Chicken Springs Canyon, lost the trail in an avalanche. Come back down, tried to go up Thompson Peak Trail, lost the trail because it hasn't been worked in a few years. So we're back down here in the bottom now, getting the critters a bite to eat and a little drink of water. Then we're going to go back down to the main trail and try to go beyond Upper Palisades Lake to Thompson Mountain that way. See what happens. Well, we absolutely couldn't do anything in Palisades Creek. Ran into dead ends everywhere we went, snow slides, steep canyon walls, no way out. Palisades Creek was so swollen with snow melt and rain runoff that we trucked out of there last night, got down here to the camp area. Now we're going to transport ourselves and our horses around to the other side of Pine Creek Pass, and we'll leave the truck up there on top and head into the VU. There was already about 20 vehicles at the rendezvous site. Joe Funk and those guys from Wyoming couldn't do any good from their area either, too much snow. So they trailered into the parking lot, and Ashburn and Spoon are doing the same thing. So we're paring our gear down to fight and wait, and then we're going to head on over and take off again and spend about 3 days riding to camp. This is Saturday. George and I decided to come back to the camp and ride out of here. We looked over those hills and decided that we'd rather do this ride in reverse. So we came into camp last night, and we're now down in the parking lot getting everything packed up. We're going to head back up off out into these hills this direction. There's some trails that go back out through there. We'll continue on around behind the camp and head off below that snow line on those ridges. Go out for about 3 days and then come back in. Pat just rolled in a little while ago, and he's getting ready to head off with Rick and that crew. George is down there politicking, I bet, with Don Clement and that bunch. Probably handing out cigars and trying to get votes. Well, we finally pulled out of the AMM camp. We rode up the trail just to the east of camp, cuts up the next draw and heads back up towards Elk Flat. We've topped out in this beautiful little meadow here just after seeing a bear back down the trail. And we've got all the critters picketed out. Ernie's getting ready to roll for the camera, it looks like. Yeah, maybe not. Blue's eating. Cleo's down here. And we're just sitting here taking it easy and going to get camp set up in a little while. Spend the night here. Tomorrow get a real Hudson's Bay start. Head on up to Elk Flat, and if it looks open enough, the trails and all, so far the trail's excellent. Some of the best we've seen. And if it looks that good on, then we'll probably go on further and try to intercept Rick and them coming up maybe. We've gotten camp all set up. George has got him a pot of coffee going. The guys out on their pickets have just about filled their bellies. Ernie's spending all his time now messing with Blue. Won't leave him alone. Not even eating. Sun is sinking lower. I guess it's about 6:30 or so in the evening. We've had our dinner pretty much. Writing in our journals. Just relaxing. Beautiful camp. Seems like our ride is now finally underway. It's getting on towards dark now. The sun's gone down behind the hills. Got all the horses and mules up on their picket line. And we're stoking up our fire, and then we're going to probably turn ourselves in. A little bit of color left in the sky. It's now Monday morning. Just as we were going to bed last night, it clobbered up and thundered. Rained for a little bit, not much. Gotten up, had 2 pots of coffee. Got everybody all picketed back out so they could meet, munch. And George is taking a little nap. In a while we'll get stuff together and packed up and head on up towards Elk Flat. This is our water supply. It's about 10 yards from the tent. Actually, the tent's set up on almost like a little island, and the creek splits on either side of it. So we had water on both sides. This is the easiest to get to, though, because this is where the trail crosses. That's the way we'll head out and get ready to leave out of here. Good trail. Cleo and Ernie are enjoying standing over here in the sun. They got all they want to eat. A little tail swatting going on, but the bugs aren't really very bad. Been very few deer flies, and a couple of horse flies, and a couple of mosquitoes. Could get worse today as things are warming up and drying out. There's the trail coming up down the canyon. Cheyenne's been doing pretty good. Gave George a few fits the first day or so, but he's kind of settled down and going down the trail now. The little range tent from John sure has worked out good. Kept us and our equipment dry. Lovely, lovely morning. Talk about having the whole pass blocked. Look at this gut pile. Got her all spread out here in the sun for a minute. Getting things dried out just a little bit, just dampness from the ground. And we'll load it up. George is going to try to pack Cheyenne today and ride Blue. Okay, we'll start getting them packed up. Get ready to head up the trail towards Elk Flats. Seems to have accepted the britching all right, and I think everything will be okay. It's a good thing we decided to switch, because George's cinch had kind of rubbed a little spot on Cheyenne, and these pack cinches aren't anywhere close to it, so we put some bag balm and comfrey on it and wiped everybody down with fly wipe. Boy, flies pretty bad this morning. Now we'll get going. Getting old Cheyenne packed up here.
Alright, here's Mike loading up Ernie. Saddling up after a wonderful night in this beautiful meadow. We're ready to ride on up the trail. I think everybody feels refreshed and like we've had a real good evening after several days of kind of hard, tough ones. We deserved it. Turn around here and smile, Mike. There you go.
We're having fun now.
We sure as hell are. Okay. And we got some good animals. We got a beautiful area to ride in. And we're going to go do it.
Okay, George is manning old Cheyenne down here. We'll get him throwing a diamond around there, and by God, we're ready to go then. Nope, 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 nope.
What was that side?
Nope, the on side. Well, we're all packed up. George is finishing saddling. We're going to get on these critters and go on up the trail. Last minute stuff. What a purty mule, Ernie. Cleo's standing there all loaded. Cheyenne's all loaded, didn't give us any trouble at all. He's obviously done that before. So we'll get on up the trail now. Yeah, we just climbed up out of the bottom. Come out onto the top of this open ridge after crossing quite a bit of rotten snow. Come up to this point right here. It ain't bad. Not a bad view at all. That's Pierre's hole down in the bottom. Beautiful, beautiful country. Yeah, here we are coming into camp. This spot looks a little familiar because it's the exact same place that we stayed last night. We went up high into the hills, went up to Elk Flat. There was a lot of snow and a lot of mud, and we couldn't get anywhere. Critters were sinking in up to their knees and falling down. We turned around and come off of it and come back down here, and we're going to spend the night here. Then tomorrow we'll ride on into the camp. It's a good spot. There's plenty enough grass left for them. Good water.
Home again.
Home again. And we got it all unloaded again. Piled out here on the ground. Looks like it did a little while ago. George is down letting everybody eat a bite. We let them roll. We'll let them get a drink and put them out on pickets. They're doing pretty good. Flies were pretty bad when we left here this morning, but they're sure not bad now. See as the day progresses. Now we're getting into the evening mode. George is pounding some coffee beans. Horses have all gotten a little grain. They're back to munching again. Got the tent set up. Got the high line strung. Fire's going. Sun is starting to go down through the trees. Coffee pot's on. George is about to have nirvana here as he gets his cup of coffee. Be ready in just a few minutes. Probably about 6 or 6:30 in the evening, I don't know. Home sweet home. Yeah, it looks like another evening's drawn to a close. Everybody's on the nod. We're about ready to put them on the high line. And sun's going down again. And we'll put her to bed here in just a second. Wake to another morning. It's totally overcast. Sprinkled a few drops on us. Then it cleared off and the sun's shining bright. We're starting to get our equipment packed up. We'll move on into camp today. George is moving stuff into the shade because once it cleared off, it was real humid. So just moving around out here, you're working up a sweat. stream just above campus. Looks like a good spot to have an all-over bath. Water's kind of cold, but not unbearable. We're going to do it. Real pleasant surprise here. We're finishing up our coffee, and here come Joe Funk and the whole gang, and Dick Patton. Haven't seen Dick in a lot of years. Good to see him.
Well, if I get in trouble, I'll come back. I know where I can get a mule.
Richard Ashburn there. I hadn't met him before, but he looks awful familiar. And Moki. And Joe Funk.
Okay, ready? I guess I paid my dollar. I might as well get my money. Yeah.
Hey guys, now just quit picking on me. I ain't a guide anymore.
There's some nice little glades and draws down on the valley there on the other side if you guys are interested in making a loop that way.
See how we feel about it once we get up on it.
Like heck, but
No, you look
4
lovely.
days and
Hey, your horse is going to roll. You better get off. Get him up. Get him up.
come on, up, up,
Get your gun. Get your gun out of the way.
come on.
Jerk on that rope. Jerk on it. And you watch your feet.
First time. First time for everything.
I long to see you down the way, across the wide desert.
Thanks.
Give me time to warm up.
Thanks. You bet. That was wonderful.
That's all that I understand. That's all that I understand.
This is Wednesday evening, and we've invited some of the boys around camp to come in, have Pasoli with us. Got Cliff Tippy over here, and Bob Schmidt with his back to us, and Mike Ulansky over there and his two boys, and a friend. They just put a bunch of pieces of elk steak on sticks and put on the fire, and the pot of Pasoli's been on for about 2 hours now, simmering. Should be ready to go here in a little while. I bet it'll be prime doings. Nice camp.
On tonight's National Geographic Explore.
Looks like Gordon and his wife coming into camp here. Over there talking with Bob.
Oh, I put it in my faucet with that.
Now that's a dad that loves you. They'll pick your nose for you. I guarantee that right there. That is true love.
Tell you what, we're getting ready to have some prime feeding going on around here in a minute.
Something boiling.
You betcha that Pasoli's coming up to steam.
Well, you guys look great, you know. Did you lose any weight?
Well, I've been trying. I've been fluctuating.
Well, I think you have because
It's
last
like
year
up
you
and
looked
down
a
and
little
up and
more
down.
Plump.
It's a yo-yo
Pleasantly
thing.
plump. You were plump. You were the Christmas cookie. So if you want to help him and bring this stuff.
Well, dinner's getting finished up here. Every bite of Pasoli got it.
Hi, baby. Wish you were here.
She'll like that.
They don't. The V6 is not enough engine to haul anything. I wouldn't want to pull a horse trailer.
There's still some left.
There's not a bite left. Don't listen to him.
There's some meat there.
Oh, there's some milk.
But I wouldn't want to pull anything like that. I really wouldn't. I pulled small trailers and V6 Toyota.
Yeah, my wife's got a 95 SR5 V6.
Yeah.
And I
Period
can't pull
Toyota
it.
engine.
This is Lanny
Yeah,
Radcliffe
it's
there.
It's not a real powerful engine.
Pat.
I mean, it'll go like hell. I'd hate to try to outrun something.
Feller from Florida.
When we came to
Jim Gannon.
96
They haven't
Nationals
fun
in
yet,
Montana,
George.
I put a camper shell on there, And me and Ron
Cliff
Harris
Tiffy.
and James Craker and Steve
We're all
Murray
having fun. We're sitting around waiting for the music to start.
with enough duffel to hell, Admiral Byrd took that shit to the North Pole. Then we brought up here, and Harris was driving when he hit that no speed limit Montana highways.
I don't know.
And he was zipping down through
Yeah, he's a friend of Bob's. He's from Florida.
Oh, he is from
Yeah.
Good, I need to talk to him.
Get them wound up. Once you get them wound up, then we can go. And when I was doing duffel,
Come on, Captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. I wanna go home. Where love feels so breaker. I wanna go home. Hoist up the John sand. See how the mainsail sets. Come on, the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home.
Was being the working word. I can't wait to get you home and drop you off with your mom. Why?
Might be it for tonight. Thursday morning, and George is going to take Sean Ulansky out for a ride. They're saddling up Blue right now. Then they'll get Cheyenne. They'll go for a little ride. Be fun for them.
Come around here.
Don't get under that horse like that.
You can kind of tell if that's pretty well lined up. The scent should be to the front, but not pushing against his legs, the front part of his gut. Okay? And that goes through here.
They'll have a fun ride. Thursday, Grand Council meeting will be tomorrow. I'm going to head down and take a walk through camp here in a minute. And got a pork roast on the, excuse me, not a pork roast at all, it's a elk roast. Pot cooking it. Should be pretty good. I'll take a stroll down through camp. We'll take a look around. Critters all taking a break in the shade. Just above our camp is the Wyoming boys, Joe Funk and his crew. Water supply. Pretty nice little creek. Another riding mule in camp. Gordon and his wife Carla's camp is here. We're kind of off in the upper end of the horse camp area. This is Shine's and Gray Wolf's camp. Over beyond them is Pat Quilter and Jim Hannon's digs. Now we're coming down into the main part of camp. Quite a few camps here. Fella's found a little spot of shade down there to stand and talk. John Towns and Bob Schmidt. I don't know the other fella. Teepee down there is the Bourgeois, Camp Bourgeois tent. more of the camp. Crazy coyote there walking away. He's been doing all the packing gear in for folks with his 2 horses. Pretty nice of him. Bob Schmidt's digs. Looks like guys coming back up to camp from last Rocky Mountain College. And that's about all the shelters there are. Mark Weedy coming back up from the Rocky Mountain College, I guess. Pretty big gathering down there at the Bushways tent. I think folks are signing the log and ordering their medallions. Yeah, better get back up to camp and check on the horses. It's now Thursday evening, and we've been cooking this elk roast all day, and threw some rice in there and some morels, and got a pot of coffee on and a piece of another fresh elk roast on a stick there. And we've got Bob and Cliff and Mike Kulansky and some other people over again for dinner. I think it's going to be edible.
I wouldn't be surprised. Have you got your catalog? No, but
Campaign song is about to begin. Let me tell you all the story of a man named Charlie who wanted to live proud and free. So he saw his fortune taking skins off of beavers, and he set out on the wide prairie. And did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his fate is still unlearned. He may trap forever on the wide Missouri. He's a man who never returned. Well, he caught his quota wading icy rivers, and he hauled them blues to rendezvous. When he heard the prices that the factors were offering, he said, boys, this never will do. And did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his fate is still unlearned. Glory, hallelujah. May trap forever in the wide Missouri. He's the man who never returned. Vote for George!
Glad Mike got that on the camera.
You'll play it at the Easterns over and over again.
Yes, where he's been all afternoon. Symposium.
Well, this is our last night in camp. We're tired of this. We've heard all the stuff we can hear. We've been to the Grand Council meeting. And we're going to call it a night and call it a rendezvous. And tomorrow morning at first light, we are heading for home. We left the rendezvous site yesterday morning at 7:30. Pretty much drove straight back. Got home about 8 last night, 7:30 or 8. This is about all that's left of the cleanup mess. We've been drying things out and putting it away. It was a good time. We had fun. We're glad to be back, and both of us were real glad to get a shower, get cleaned up. Matter of fact, I think I've taken about 3 showers now since we got home. We had a good time. Adios.